Marketing and branding have become intrinsically entwined with our everyday lives. We only have to look to President Trump, who is sometimes referred to as the social media president, whose campaign, while not solely so, was run on brand awareness. Awareness of a Trump name, the success of the name implies the aspiration to wealth it implies. Whether the president's brand will survive his presidency is another matter entirely. But this goes to illustrating the power of branding and the power of the right kind of branding at the right time. Is it all marketing, right? Televisions and print media no longer the only forms of marketing and branding platforms aimed at the consumer market. The rise of small subscriptions, social media celebrityhood, and reality stars such as the Kardashian, Jenner clan, who have undeniably taken self-branding and placed advertising to new heights, has in turn seen the consumer market take part as we post images of what holidays we're on, the new car, our house, or designer, which reggae tune you like, or which shoes we just bought. We, the consumer, are providing these brands with place ads and brand recognition willingly and for the free media to match up to the image lifestyles being sold us. We want so badly to be part of that fold. All this in conjunction with being sold what we don't need through email subscriptions, to which you're signed on to by simply using a website, and to constant ad feeds on Facebook and Google. It is a ploy of success by numbers, success by feeding the consumer market a life of wanting more and never being satisfied. It's a ploy of clickbait and timeline flooding. But my question to our viewers is this, and this is to you: has it become too much? Is there such a thing as over-marketing or over-branding? I want to hear your opinion. With the growth of the several platforms now available to the marketing field, is marketing spiraling out of control? Is it too much, or is it a natural evolution of the industry as technology evolves to allow it more platforms of reach? Should we only be subject to the incessant ads and marketing streams if we choose to be? Where's the up top button? Ladies and gentlemen, share your comments below or on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram with the hashtag SylbourneTV. Joining us today, ladies and gentlemen, we have Vee Roberts. She's a multi-award winning brand and marketing coach and consultant with over 22 years in the industry. She's also the Director of Insight2Marketing, and she will correct me if I'm wrong, and the co-founder of InspireUr Biz. I like that. And today, she's joined us to give us some insight into the world of marketing. Vee, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good, thank you.
Fantastic, Vee, can I tell you the honest truth? When I saw you came in red, I said to myself, shucks, I should have called her because I had a red tie and a red socks, But then I said, when I saw you, I said, oh, shucks. But anyhow, Vee, you compliment the red chairs anyhow.
Thank you, so blending in.
Exactly, so perfect. So listen, it's great having you. And the whole world of marketing and branding is something which is so fantastic now. But before we go any further, give us a little of your working background leading up to InspireUr and InspireUr Biz, or in essence, what I'm saying, who is Vee Roberts?
Okay,
yeah.
So firstly, thank you for having me on the show.
Yes.
I've been in the industry actually for 20 years, so I don't know if that's gonna...
So ladies and gentlemen, she's been in the business industry for 20 years, and she looks like 25, so anyway.
Oh, thank you.
Let me see how that works out.
So I've been in the industry for 20 years doing marketing and communications, branding, and I was an employee for 15 years actually, working for corporates and global companies, and then I was made redundant. So being made redundant, I was put in a position where I needed to find a new job.
Yes.
I actually had enough of working for other people. I was a bit of a rebel, and decided after a few weeks of being on my redundancy package, once it had dried up, that I would start my own business, doing what I had been doing for those 15 plus years. So I started up my business and haven't looked back. I've studied marketing and communications. I went on to a graduate program with British Telecom, BT. And then from there, I took on a number of other roles. I went on to do contract work. And after the redundancy, I was then almost forced, but in a good way, to start up on my own.
That's very interesting, Vee, because when you were speaking, I was listening to what you said, and it just inspired me. And I'm sure many people have seen this. So when you're in employment and you're in your 9 to 5, is it really training for reigning, isn't it?
Yeah, in a way. I mean, I studied marketing and branding and communications for 3 years, and I then went on to the postgraduate diploma as well shortly after. And one of the things I loved is that being put onto the graduate scheme at BT, I was thrown into the deep end. In fact, I didn't realize when I applied the first time I was turned down. The second time I applied was a few months afterwards. I was accepted onto the program. I didn't realize I was going to become a senior manager straight away, having no management experience. So yeah, I guess in a way it was training on the job, preparation for me, obviously in starting my own business. But very good in the sense that I was able to start at senior management level, and they entrusted me to do that based on my knowledge and expertise at the time. So it was very good experience, and from there I obviously went into other senior management roles and director level roles.
But when you're made redundant, in a way, when you look back now, are you saying it was a blessing in disguise? That then, what was it that moment, and when you look back to now and then, you think about that then?
I think everything happens for a reason, and I honestly believe that in any circumstances, there's always a reason for something happening. And at the time, when the redundancy occurred, I did see it as an opportunity, an opportunity to do my own thing, an opportunity to branch out and try something new. But I hadn't necessarily thought about working on my own as a self-employed person. I was more thinking along the lines actually of contract work. What happened was I successfully pitched for a job that I saw advertised for a national charity, and I was able to successfully get a contract working for a really big charity, doing some work for them on social media actually and marketing. So it didn't in a way have a sort of map in terms of a route that I knew that was what I was going to do, but my intention was to work for myself. So yeah, I just believe it happened at the right time.
That's good. Now, as a person in the media, which is myself now, which is like, and I'm going to make it very clear, a novice to this industry and for our viewers, what would you then, and for myself and for others, if we're going to break it down, the distinction between marketing, advertising, and public relations. Because when you hear marketing, everybody just incorporate marketing, advertising, and public relation. Does it all mean the same thing, or there are differences? There's
different things. I mean, I would also probably throw into that mix as well the word branding, because a lot of people get branding confused with marketing, and the two are very different. So if you don't mind me bringing in the branding element, so you've got branding, which is really about the visual identity, which is where most people will start, or the website, the logo, the experience the customer or client may feel, and a whole host of other things. And then you've got marketing, which is the promotion of products and services. So it's actually the brand.
Marketing the brand.
So that's why, if you didn't mind me just bringing that in. So it's very relevant, and actually a lot of people will skip that part, the importance of the branding. The branding is fundamental actually to the other areas you mentioned, advertising, public relations and marketing. So you start with the brand, which is basically the core identity, the experience, etc. So the marketing is the promotion of that brand, of your business, product or service. So it's actually the promotional tactics in the sense of what you're going to do. And advertising is one of those tactics. It's a form of communications, as is public relations. However, I would say public relations is more about reputation management. So looking at someone's image and reputation, and I guess influencing as well people.
And what people say about you, and then, it might damage your business if anything.
Absolutely, so it's about the credibility. But all relating to brand and all relating to marketing.
So therefore, in essence, what I'm picking up here, everything leads back to your brand.
I would argue that. Some people may not. I definitely would argue that.
We can argue it together. I'm a lawyer. We can argue it together. Ladies and gentlemen, everything points back down to the brand. Protecting the brand, protecting the image, marketing the image, advertising the image, and the public relation to protect the sensitivity and nitty-gritty of the image, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Man, I think the show is over now. Ladies and gentlemen, it's finished. No, there's much more, isn't it? Now, listen. In addition to running 2 businesses, you're a mother of 4. How do you now? A lot of people now, we're in this era of Brexit, Trump, everything going chaotic. People are wanting to go back to the old days, but the reality is that it's not going to come back. We're evolving. Mothers, everybody's getting into the self-employed era. How do you manage? How can people watching now get some sort of gem from yourself as a mother and running your business too?
Two? Okay, so running my two businesses, the Insight2Marketing brand is actually the core brand. The InspireUr Biz is actually a program of events and workshops and training programs that we deliver under the Insight2Marketing business. So it isn't easy. I'm not going to lie and sit here and say it's easy. I have 4 children. Their ages range from 2, just turned 2, right up to 21. So
I thought you were 25.
Oh, see, now you believe that I'm not. It's not easy. I mean, when I was a teen mum, so actually I started having children early, unplanned pregnancy, and I live life with no regrets. I don't have any regrets at all. But one of the things I think I would have done differently is to have, I guess, immersed myself into the business world before jumping into it as, you know, I've been made redundant, okay, I'm going to start a business, because there's a lot of fundamentals that I guess many mothers, women and even men don't consider when they go into business. So had I known differently, I would have applied myself with a different approach. I would have made sure I had lots of money up front, you know, potentially some investors, some resource around me, you know, people power and so on. But some advice I would give to a mother if they're going to be starting out is it's all about the mindset. So I'm quite a strong character. I am very driven and ambitious. And I think for individuals who perhaps aren't used to being knocked down and getting back up, or perhaps used to, you know, putting in work, patience, really driving themselves, I think if you're a mother and you don't necessarily have those skills, it can be done, but it will require a lot more effort because those are fundamentals, the mindset, the money, you know, having some kind of business plan, understanding that what you're doing is genuinely your passion. So, you know, those kind of things influence, you know, I guess anyone, but in relation to your question, with a mother, I think it's very important because you've got children.
It's interesting what you said, and what I'm going like this is because I want to jump in on a particular point. I spoke some time ago, one of my talks about the bubble, and you mentioned about the redundancy push. And so a bubble is like this, ladies and gentlemen. A bubble is there, and you know, I've got my kids, and they like to blow these bubbles. And there's 3 things happen to a bubble when you blow the bubble. They run after it and they punch it. It may fall on the ground and it explodes, or it just goes out and it bursts. So a bubble always bursts. So therefore, it's how you want to burst the bubble. So therefore, am I correct if I say how society is now and how people want, if they want to get into business, is to plan strategically than to wait until the bubble is burst on you?
Well, I guess it helps if you plan. But I'm not someone who's into, you know, you have to have a plan. Sometimes things happen that way for a reason. And I think in my own circumstances, I was literally given, I think it was something like 4 months notice. I was told in the January actually that I would be made redundant by like the March, April. And so I had some preparation, but I was more thinking along the lines of going into another job, going to an agency and working. But instead I sat on my redundancy money, lived off of that for a while, and then thought, you know what, I'm going to now do what I've been doing for the last 15 plus years on my own. And I would say it's an advantage to anyone who has a plan. It's an advantage to anyone who has, you know, a side hobby, a sideline. Obviously, if you've got multiple streams of income, then that's great. But it doesn't always happen that way. And I think for anyone who's working a 9 to 5 and, you know, wanting to start a business, my advice now, certainly looking back and with the clients that I work with, is don't give up your day job straight away. If you haven't got the finances, if you don't know if you're going to be able to manage all of the activities, you know, beyond the operational, you know, understanding areas, you know, that you need support on, marketing, finance, HR, you name it. Educating yourself a bit and preparing as much as you can. But, you know.
Over the past few years, we have seen more aggressive marketing directed at children, by extension the parent consumer. There's an element of pressure on families there, from unhealthy food to toys, games. You know, sometimes you go to the supermarket, they put it right at the
point of sale.
Point of sale. Resulted in discourse with parents wanting better regulations broadly across all aspects of industry. If I ask you, what should companies and marketers be held accountable for? The products they push and sell, how they push and sell them. Is marketing to children harmful or a useful tool for teaching decision making? And is there room for conscientious, responsible marketing? Is there responsible marketing, or just, listen, guys, just market that, man. That's your job.
I don't know if I should answer that with my marketing hat on or as a mother. I mean, to be fair, as a marketeer, I think when conducting marketing, we need to be responsible for what we're doing. We need to be aware. However, marketing is directly related to sales.
Yes.
So if your aim is to grow your business and you are going to sell, you know, dollies or Barbies or whatever, then the objective is to sell that. And you need to be able to target your audience at prime times, at prime opportunities. Well, it depends. I would not say at all costs. It depends on the product or service. If it's something unethical, if it's something that's offensive, you know, I'm not in agreement with that at all. But in terms of products related to children, where it's not going to cause obesity or any kind of health issue, you know, and there's no profanity being used, then I would say as a marketer, yeah, you do need to be smart when you're marketing, because otherwise, if you don't target where you know children are going to be, and if you don't, you know, place an advert when you know there are children watching those programs, then it's unlikely you're going to make any sales. So you need to strategically position yourself. I think as a parent, what I'm not comfortable with is advertisers who will promote dolls or toys or products or services to children where there is a harm, there is potential risk of you know, really bad influence. You know, music, for example, as is something where we're being encouraged now. Our children are being influenced to buy certain types of music or wear certain types of garments. You know, as a parent, that concerns me.
And at the same time, the money always comes back from the parents.
Precisely.
At the same time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Unless the child is working for themselves, it's always going to land back on the parents' budget. So, I think there's a responsibility for marketeers and certainly sales managers to have the right methods in place to reach their audience. But at the same time, you know, as parents, we also have a choice as consumers to switch off.
Yes.
And also as parents, we have a choice to discipline. So we can say no.
Yeah. So therefore, the responsibility then is on both sides, the marketer and also the buyer.
Yeah.
The buyer and the consumer.
Yeah, I would argue that,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Vee more about marketing and also the opening when we talk about the chump factor and a little bit of politics, even though she's trying to shy away from that. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've got a dream, if you've got a passion, if you've got a product, and even if you've got you that you want to showcase yourself to the world, well, here's a channel that you can use. Here's a platform, Sylbourne TV, the Sylbourne Show, the concept, in review, and don't go with the flow, all the different channels where you can advertise on, and you can even sponsor. And guess what? We'll take you to the whole world. We go on a journey. So thank you very much, and subscribe, like, and share. And if you're interested, look down the bottom. You see telephone numbers, emails, Instagram, please contact us. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. We've got Vee Roberts, and we'll follow up now on the opening where we looked at the whole aspect of, you know, Vee, welcome back again.
Thank you.
Yeah, listen, during the advent of this whole election with Trump, and people have listened to the opening, Donald Trump, whether one like it or not, what did he use? What was it? I mean, you guys analyze it as marketers. What did he use? Was there a brand? Did he market it well? Did he advertise it well? Was it PR? What was it for a business person? What message?
I think a lot of what Trump did was strategic. So he used visuals. He used marketing, you know, promotional materials. He had a big campaign message, all the banners, the vehicles, branded livery. But he had a very strong campaign message, and most of it was actually to obviously drive people towards voting for him. But actually some of it was also to annoy people. And I think he intentionally did that as well to, you know, increase the amount of visibility that he got in the public eye. Because a lot of the messages that he said were provoking to certain communities, to certain groups.
So he had a target.
He had a strategic, I think.
And he had his target audience as well.
Yeah, he did. He already had his community that was supporting him. And what he was actually doing, I believe, is strategically positioning himself at rallies and at events and on interviews and saying things that he knew would provoke other groups, which would in turn give him even more publicity. So I think he intentionally placed himself in certain places, but also in terms of his, you know, approach. He definitely had an agenda there, because a lot of what he said, if we look back at the campaign, was not necessarily taken in a positive light. And that's not to say that there weren't people that were supporting him, because obviously he had a majority. But some of the things he said were very negative to certain groups, you know, degrading to women and minority groups. But I feel that he did do that to provocate and also to get more people eyes on him. And in a way, he then distracted from the other candidates.
Do you, in your training or in some aspect, use some of those examples as what to do, what not to do, but showing the strength in that sort of political campaign?
Honestly, no. I mean, for me, the main thing when you're running business and you're trying to promote your brand is about being authentic. So showing up as who you really are. And I think Trump did do that. In some ways, he's a bit of a Boris, because I think on some occasions he did play on his character on some occasions. But I think he's authentic in that he's unashamedly who he is. He'll walk off and leave his wife, meters behind him. And I think he's fully aware and being briefed by, people that are working with him that, body language is being observed. So he'll do things with total disregard of what others think. And in that way, that makes him authentic in my eyes.
No, that's interesting. Authentic. So authenticity doesn't have to do with what is good or what is right.
No, it's to do with being uniquely yourself and embracing who you are.
Wow. Now, let's move quickly right there. Being yourself and who you are, how powerful and how effective should that be in business, and especially with the visibility of branding?
I literally preach on that subject because I feel that when we as brands and individuals, whether it's personal brand or business brand, mimic others, or we try and be what we think people want us to be, we become inauthentic. So we become fake in a way. And I see around me many business owners who will do what they feel others will appreciate more. And in a way, they devalue their own brand. They devalue what they should truly be showing up as. So I always encourage business owners to stand up in their own right and authority, be very credible, be human and personalized, and also just to show up as transparent. If you do something wrong, admit it.
So integrity is a very crucial factor then.
Yeah. For me, definitely, and heart-centered business owners,
The whole advent of social media now, and people posting this, saying they are this, sometimes people look at it and say, these are fake, man. You want to touch on that subject?
I could touch on it for you. I've written a few blog posts, a few articles that are on LinkedIn, and one of the ones that I wrote was around beware of social media experts. The other one was around influencers and leaders. So how do you define an influencer or a leader? And I really am quite opinionated. So as being authentically me, I will say what I feel. And in both of those articles, I speak of my personal opinion on individuals who will come across as one way. And when you ask them about, the latest this or that in terms of social media development, or when you ask them about, something that's supposed to be current and relevant to what they say they're an expert in, they can't answer.
But what they're doing is trying to capture something based on a trend. Yeah,
based on a trend, based on what they believe will make them a quick buck, which again I feel is unethical, because in a sense you're dangling a carrot, and that's a term I use quite a bit. You're literally saying to people, you're trying to woo them with this facade that everything and they can ask you anything, but then when they do ask you, or when they do ask you a question or they ask you to deliver something, there are no results. So I think there's a lot of that going on in the industry, unfortunately, at the moment, particularly with relation to coaching. And my advice to anyone, which I openly say on my videos and live streams, is always check credentials and always ask people questions. If you're not sure and you're paying for a service, always qualify, if what this person is saying is actually factually correct.
And get referrals as well, and see some trend. And I was saying to someone, for a person to be a business coach or whatever, it would be good if they actually had a business.
I mean, I put up a quote very recently, and that's a really good point, Sylbourne. I recently put up a quote saying something along the lines of, never take advice from someone who hasn't done what it is you're trying to achieve. And I hadn't thought about it in that way before. I'd actually seen that quote somewhere else, and I lifted it and put it on something of my own and sourced it, referenced the source. But I genuinely believe that. I think if you want to be coached in business, you should speak to someone that's got expertise in business, and if you want to achieve a really successful marketing campaign, then you should speak to someone who's done that already and has proven that.
I want you to say that in 30 seconds. You said that key quote there:
never take advice from someone who has not achieved what it is you want to achieve.
I want you to say that to the people.
Never take advice from someone who has never achieved what it is you are trying to achieve.
That's powerful. That's really powerful. And That is really good, because you know what? A lot of people out there really genuinely wanting to make their lives better, wanting to see changes in their lives, and they're actually opening up themselves to lots of people. And I think the most important thing is sometimes now you've got to reach to a point whereby it is not the person who is going to supply that is the onus is going to be on. The onus is now going to be on the people who are going to, the gullible ones, to really test and check. And I believe that is something. So therefore, I sense that you will turn down business if you believe it is not right thing for you to do.
And I'll also refer people on to other coaches.
Yes.
So for example, I don't ever say I'm an expert in business planning, you know, and finance.
Right.
My expertise is in branding, marketing, and more recently social media. So when I get people that come to me and they may say, you know, I really want to do a marketing campaign, I want to improve my brand, you know, and I'm working with a business coach at the minute, but I just want to see what you're about. My first question will always be, does your business coach have experience in branding and marketing? Because if they don't, then it's not for me to say that they can't deliver on what they need, but in terms of coordinating a campaign and, you know, planning and using the right tactics, they may not have knowledge of that. They may just have knowledge in business planning, in, you know, business organization, in the fundamentals of business. So whenever individuals, companies, groups of people are getting into, you know, trying to look for coaches, I think the first thing they should do is look at the credentials and make sure there's a solid match. You know, if you're getting a feel that you need support in a certain area, make sure your coach can deliver in that area.
And as you mentioned right there, now let's tap into a quick one, which is a very authentic issue about like black business, for argument's sake. How do you see black businesses now in this aspect of generating new business? Because there's an influx and there's this massive talk. I always like to say, is it black business or is it black owners?
I think I'm stuttering a bit because of that. I wasn't expecting that kind of question. But what I would say to you is that I don't personally have a viewpoint in regards to black businesses or black owners, so that term. But I feel there has definitely been an increase in black business ownership.
Yes.
And I feel one of the areas where we fall down or where there could be improvement as a community is that we don't consider the importance of investing in our business in certain areas. So whilst we might have, you know, the best garments, the finest furnishings, really nice, you know, interior design skills, etc., we don't know how to apply that in terms of promoting it. So we'll set up shop, literally, we'll have our shop front, we won't maintain it necessarily, we won't have any customer service. In some instances, we won't even have a website or any social media pages, but we expect almost people to flock to our business. And I see that a lot. It's not every business, but I think as a community, there's a bit of work that needs to be done around educating, and not just in the black community, actually. I don't want to generalize here, but I think as business owners, there's a bit of work we need to be doing around educating people on the importance of promoting their business. So not being complacent and assuming everyone's going to flock to you. Also not assuming that family and friends are going to support you either, because that's something that I think a lot of people assume they're going to get support from family and friends, and sometimes they look around and there's no one to support them.
So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, for getting you driving very well, you go to Vee Roberts, yes?
No, you don't have to go to me. You go to anyone who you feel can deliver.
I'm sending them to Vee Roberts.
Thank you.
And then Vee Roberts will offload you to other persons to flood the market.
No. I mean, I honestly, I do believe that I wrote a blog post on this at the weekend. With marketing, you know, it's as important as accounting. So in the same way that when HMRC write to every business owner saying, file your tax return by X, there is a critical importance for marketing as well. You know, to get your business going, you need to invest in your marketing.
So what you're trying to say is that marketing should be on the same level as filing your accounts. So that means
if not even higher, because ultimately your marketing is going to affect your sales, and that's what's going to then have an impact on how much you're telling the taxman you've earned and profits, etc. So
okay, and finally, vote. Are you going to vote? Election coming up?
Yes, I am.
Brexit or Brexit?
I'm not going to disclose that.
That. Okay, fantastic. Well, at least you're going to vote. That's the most important thing.
I'm definitely going to vote.
Awesome. Well, listen. Before we go, one final thing is we always ask persons what is their favorite quote or mantra. What would you say is yours then? What drives you? Those quiet moments when sometimes everything is against you. What pushes you through?
Baby steps are better than no steps.
Baby steps are better than no steps.
which means that if you decide that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're going to go really hard in your business, and then on Thursday you have a bad day, or you want to sleep for the whole day, or you don't want to communicate with anyone, you switch off. You take the steps you need to apply in your business, because ultimately it's about your mindset and it's about how you apply yourself.
Right.
And if your mind isn't right and things have bogged you down, you know, then it's time to switch off. So I think it's important that as business owners we understand that even if you're making small progress, it's better than sitting still.
Yes.
That's
Ladies and gentlemen, baby steps are better than no steps. And I want to thank you so much, Vee.
Thank you.
For coming
Thank
on
you
the
for
show.
having me. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Now, listen, ladies and gentlemen, what I would like to say in closing is that baby steps are better than no steps, as I told that. But also, one of the most important things about marketing, and what I learned and what I captured from today, is that the most important thing, according to Vee, and I agree with it, is branding.
Yeah.
Once you got the branding, then you market the branding. Once you establish the branding, then you advertise the branding. Once you establish the branding or the brand, then you have your public relation to protect it, the integrity of it as well. And of course, as we can see with the Trump factor, with the Brexit, everything was around campaign and how they push their product. And just like politics, just like sales, it's about your target market as well. So I want to thank Vee for coming on today. And I'm sure, ladies and gentlemen, you have picked up something. And remember, you go to Vee, and if Vee can't hold you, she'll offload it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today with Vee Roberts. And of course, you can always find us and on our social media platform. And remember to like, subscribe to our various platforms. And thank you so much.
Hi, my name's Vee Roberts of Insight2Marketing.com. I've just had an interview with Sylbourne of Sylbourne TV, and I'm really encouraging you to like, subscribe and connect with him on Facebook, Instagram and all of the social media platforms that he sits on. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on the Sylbourne Show. And of course, what I'd like you to do is to like the videos, share the videos and subscribe to the channel. Let people know about it. But important thing is also to comment. Let us get your comment, let's get your views, so we can understand how to even please you better, ladies and gentlemen. So as I said, share, like, subscribe. Thank you. I saw you there. You subscribed and you shared. Thank you so much. See you next time.